This week, Toni On is taking on the East Village. From punk rock to pub crawls, we've got you covered.
Plus, how Bobby De Niro is boosting the economy.
Toni on New York tonight, 7:30, only on Pix. Hey New York, do you know what time it is?
It's Toni Time!
And what is Toni Time? It's Toni on New York.
You think you know New York? Don't you know New York?
Toni on New York starts right now.
Toni on New York drops! Walking around and feeling fine. Sun is shining in my face. Crossing the street 'cause I'm passing by. Thinking how I love this place. Can you feel the wind in your hair? I look out for you, I'll be there. Let's take a stroll down to the park.
Hey everyone, we are taking on New York neighborhood by neighborhood. We're gonna peek into the past and explore this great city we all call home. But this show is too big for just me to take on, so let's meet the Toni on New York team. Little Steven's Underground Garage showcases the newest names in rock and roll. Plus, Steven picks the coolest song in the world this week. Lifestyle correspondent Katrina Zish has the dish on the best deals in town. AP entertainment reporter Alicia Quarles has got your red carpet covered. And Seth Campbell of Big Onion Walking Tours bringing you the historical lowdown on this part of town. Today we are hitting the neighborhood home to many artistic movements, including punk rock. And even though the famed nightclub CBGB's lost its lease, it doesn't mean the East Village has lost its edge. And today we're going to prove that everything old is new again. We've got the scoop on the oldest pub, the newest cocktails, the end of an era, and the very best egg cream. Plus, how Bobby De Niro is boosting the economy. But first, let's check in with Seth to get all the cool facts to impress your friends with.
So we're here on East 3rd Street today, which is just the epitome of the East Village.
Why is that?
Because we're here in front of the brand new dormitory for New York Law School, and right next to it, the Hells Angels New York headquarters.
All right, does it get much more polar opposite than that?
No, but this is what the East Village is all about. Building by building, block by block, it's completely different than anywhere else in the city. But if you want to see the true heart of this neighborhood, we got to head up to St. Mark's Place.
Let's do it.
All right. This has been a sort of a funky destination since the early 1960s, when real estate investors renamed the Lower East Side to the East Village to make it kind of hip and trendy.
In the 60s, it was like super hot.
Oh, the 60s, I'm born 15 years too young, but from what I've heard, this was incredible.
And what was across the street?
Across the street was the Dom, which then became the Electric Circus. Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground teamed up with Andy Warhol to do the exploding plastic inevitable across the street.
And now it's a Chipotle.
And a Supercuts.
Before this was funky St. Mark's, the area was the heart of Little Germany, full of German immigrants in the 1930s and 40s. But the community was destroyed after the General Slocum disaster, which took place in 1904, killing over 1,000 residents as the ferry boats sank in the East River. But what was this area before the Germans moved in, before any of this was even built?
It was Peter Stuyvesant's farm, and in fact, his church is just 2 blocks from here. Really, all that's left is Peter Stuyvesant's driveway.
That was his driveway?
Stuyvesant Street was his driveway going from the Bowery, which means road to the farms, to his farm. It's actually one of the few true east-west streets in the city. This is east-west, this is east-west for real estate. Reality, real estate.
And tell me about the church.
The original church was 1660. This one is 1799, built on the initial location of Peter Stuyvesant's estate, his farm, whatever you want to call it. And it's been a major place of worship and community activism for over 200 years.
All right, what was Stuyvesant's legacy? What would you call his legacy?
Well, his positive legacy is that the athletic team for Stuyvesant High School are called the Peg Legs, because Peter Stuyvesant had one leg and he walked on a wooden peg. Unfortunately, he's also known as America's first anti-Semite. In 1654, when the first Jews arrived on Manhattan, he tried to have them banned. He also had a thing against Lutherans.
Stuyvesant wasn't as tolerant as the neighborhood became. 200 years later, in the New York City Marble Cemetery, as long as you had the money, you could lay to rest right here.
This is one of the first non-sectarian cemeteries in America. private cemetery and one of the first times you could be buried without being under the hand of God.
So they were real entrepreneurs opening this up.
Oh, absolutely. This is all about making a profit.
Crazy. And who's buried here?
Well, you've got Charles Scribner, the newspaper man, the publisher. You've got James Roosevelt, who founded Roosevelt Hospital. And my favorite 19th century New Yorker, Preserved Fish.
That was his name?
That was his name. One of the oldest Dutch families of New York. Preserved means goes with God.
And while this is one of the first cemeteries of its kind, the East Village is home to another first, the first free university.
Cooper Union was the first free university in New York, if not the country. It was all founded by this incredibly brilliant man, Peter Cooper. Cooper was born when Washington was president and died as we were finishing the Brooklyn Bridge.
And how do you make all his money?
Picking up dead horses on city streets.
For real?
Yeah. He picked up the dead horses on city streets and figured out a process to boil down the bones to gelatin and glue. That's how he made his first fortune.
And with that fortune, he built this university.
Yes. Right around the corner is where he'd go for his downtime. McSorley's Ale House is just half a block from Cooper Union. And he supposedly spent so much time there, they preserved his chair and is hanging over the bar.
I spent a lot of time there in college and I didn't have a chair preserved.
Yeah, but you didn't bring Abraham Lincoln in for a beer. He did.
No, I didn't. He brought Abraham Lincoln in.
Abraham Lincoln spoke at Cooper Union in 1860, gave an incredibly famous speech, and then they went and had a beer at McSorley's.
Now, whether or not the 16th president of the United States drank here or not is still up for debate. But what we do know is that being that McSorley's was opened in 1854, it is the oldest bar in the neighborhood. But just a couple of blocks away, here on 6th Street between 1st and A, is the new wave of cocktailing in the East Village. And when a lounge has a name like this, you know you better be careful. So let's go.
Although the name Death & Co. might be a little intimidating, no worries here. The awfully nice bartender Brian aims to please. He mixes up unique concoctions that hark back to the good old times of days gone by, but with that extra edge that screams East Village.
We'll probably start off today with, we'll do a champagne drink. It's one of my own. It's called the Misbehavin'. Very simple. It's kind of a take on a French 75.
Ooh.
They take the craft of cocktails very seriously. It almost looks like a lab.
There are homemade syrups, there's vermouths, there's liquors, liqueurs, bitters.
Brian's mint julep was jumping, and when it comes to shaking, this guy's not joking around.
You were supposed to shake a cocktail like 7 demons are chasing after you.
And here, even the twists have twists.
This will make the rest of your day go really well.
Yeah, or really bad.
Brian even has his version of the classic tiki cocktail, the zombie.
This has 3 different rums in it. It's got 1/8 of a teaspoon of absinthe, so there's very little in there.
Isn't that the stuff that makes you go crazy?
No, maybe the economy is what makes people go crazy.
Woo! That's good.
But the best was yet to come.
This one here is the Queen's Park Swizzle, and layman's terms, I would call it a complicated mojito.
Oh, that is so good. Danny, Pat, production staff here, you guys have to try it.
And here at Death & Co., once the room is filled, you will go on the waiting list. The idea is to keep the vibe low-key and the spirits high. But whatever you do, don't bring up the movie Cocktail.
I don't know Tom Cruise, but Tom Cruise is an actor and a Scientologist. I'm a bartender. I'm a little closer to what reality is.
But if booze isn't your thing, then have we found the perfect spot for you? And you know what? This is a true East Village institution.
It is where the New York Dolls shot their infamous back cover. And yes, you can get the latest mags and rags, but Gem Spa is also home to the best egg cream in all of New York. Many say it is the first place in the city to serve them, and they've been doing it ever since. Yes, the proprietor was a little camera shy, but he still showed us their sweet recipe for success.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on down to Gem Spa and get the best egg cream in New York City.
Coming up, celebrity sightings at the hottest place in the East Village, plus a special deal for Toni On trendsetters. And if you want to visit a really cool neighborhood in New York's backyard,
for free. Get your passports ready and log on to WPIX.com. You could be on your way, all expenses paid, to the fabulous destination of Quebec. Also coming up, music news you need to know.
Hey baby, little Steven here. We're going to be taking a trip to the Underground Garage, checking out some new music, including the coolest song in the world this week. So stick around.
Yes, the East Village is known as the home of punk rock, but right next door to the former location of the nightclub CBGB's, one could also witness another amazing art form, starting right here in the 1950s. Why? Because the East Village is also known for opera.
The Amato Opera is a beloved institution in the neighborhood, a wonderfully humble performance space where the focus is on the love of music.
You are a legend in the East Village. It is true.
Toni Amato started the company 65 years ago. He and his late wife Sally called the East Village home since the 50s. But Mr. Amato represents so much more than the music. He is an incredible example of the American dream.
I came to New York in 1927 from Italy when I was 7 years old. And five brothers, they're all musicians, so I grew up with music around me. But my father was a businessman, and he said, Tony, we have too many musicians in the family. So he put me in his grocery store, in his meat market, in his restaurant, and I became a businessman at the age of 10 or 11.
And he has brought years of delight to opera lovers. But sadly, for financial reasons, the Amato Opera will close after their next program in May. However, he has many fond memories of a life spent doing what he loves in a neighborhood that has seen a real evolution.
We don't clean the sidewalk anymore like we used to every morning with the derelicts telling them to move. And we have $1 million apartments, and we have fancy stores, banks all over around us. So it's a tremendous change.
Another iconic music destination is the Fillmore East. Now, in the 1960s, this place was known as the Church of Rock and Roll. Everyone graced its stage, from Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, even The Doors. These days, it's just a bank, but it lives on in the memories of music fans all around the world. And one man I know remembers it well is Mr. Steven Van Zandt, who is here to bring you the music news you need to know for tomorrow.
Hey baby, little Steven here. Let's go into the Underground Garage right now and check out some really cool new music. Our coolest band in the world this week is the Len Price 3. They are Glenn Page, Neil Fromow, and Steve Huggins, and they are from Medway, Kent, in the United Kingdom, referred to as the Medway Delta because it is so fertile with the amount of cool bands that come out of that area. Their latest album is Rent a Crowd and can be found on wickedcoolrecords.com. And let's check out their video for the title track, Rent a Crowd. You want to hear more from them, right? Check out the Underground Garage every Sunday night at 10 o'clock on 104.3 and every day on Sirius 25 XM59. We'll see you here next week for more of the coolest new music in the world right here in the Underground Garage.
Coming up, the hottest spot in the city, literally, and how Bobby D is helping our economy. Plus, a special deal for Toni On fashionistas. And if you want to visit a really cool neighborhood in New York's backyard for free, well, get your passports ready and log on to WPIX.com. You could be on your way, all expenses paid, to the fabulous destination of Quebec. That's next on Toni On New York.
Since the late 1800s, right here on East 10th Street is where New Yorkers have been coming to experience an unexpected paradise, because there's no place to relax like the Russian and Turkish baths.
This place has been around for about 117 years. It's the last of the surviving bathhouses. Originally, bathhouses were the only way that Eastern Europeans could get like shower, steam. They were all day laborers, so there was no indoor plumbing in the turn of the 20th century.
$30 gets you in for the day for the basics, and even though the baths are pretty bare bones, doesn't mean you won't spot a celebrity or two. When we got there, Q-Tip happened to be in the house.
Yeah, I've been coming here for a while, maybe about over 10 years easily. Russell Simmons brought me here.
I would think someone of your stature would be at a very fancy, schmancy spot.
Gotta keep it gritty. Gotta keep it gritty in the city.
Now, whether you're looking to rejuvenate your spirit or your wardrobe, the East Village is the place. So let's go to Katrina Zish, who has got the dish on the best kept style secret in town.
She's been called the Diane von Furstenberg of Generation Y, a hip boutique that caters to everyone looking for great deals and fabulous details, whether you're Park Avenue or punk rock. The Anna store has been an East Village destination for 12 years. It's a great place to shop for low-maintenance, high-fashion clothes that not everyone has. The shop's owner and designer, Kathy Kemp, has a distinct sensibility when it comes to what she creates.
I like clothes to be able to go lots of different places. One thing that I do every year is the 7-way dress. It can be tied probably 70 different ways at this point because women have come in with it all different ways. It used to come with an instruction book, and now we're putting a video on the Anna Store Facebook page, so stay tuned. I also named it after my grandmother, Anna, who taught me how to sew when I was a little girl.
Did you always want to be a designer? Was that always your passion?
I didn't, no. It just occurred to me when I was about 30 that I should be doing this. I moved to New York and I was really inspired by all of the other shops, and I thought of how I could do one that's really great and different. Most of my customers are really creative artists who know that the magic is in the mix. They mix my things with brilliant pieces that they get other places downtown.
The Kathy Kemp line is produced in very small quantities, so every single piece is special. And although some things sell out fast, there's always something new. And all of the clothes are sewn by independent contractors in New York City.
As someone who has a small business, I know it's important for the neighbors to shop at the businesses in their neighborhood, or, you know, in some cases those businesses might not exist, which can be bad for everyone. So I shop in the Garment Center, I shop at Mood Fabric, family-owned business and a really, really great place. And that's important to me because it's actually fun for me to go there and shop. I know everyone at the store.
You gotta come down here and check out Anna. You gotta come meet Kathy. And Kathy has been generous enough, so if you tell him Toni sent you, she's gonna give you a 10% discount on everything. That means it's time to go shopping. We'll catch you next week.
Coming up, forget Hollywood Boulevard, 2nd Avenue has its own Walk of Fame. Plus, how Bobby D is helping the economy. And if you want to visit a really cool neighborhood in New York's backyard for free, well, get your passports ready and log on to WPIX.com. You could be on your way, all expenses paid, to the fabulous destination of Quebec. That's next on Toni On New York.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, a lot of New Yorkers were very upset when the 2nd Avenue Deli closed. Thankfully, they've reemerged in Kips Bay. But you know what? They left their legacy right here in the East Village.
You know, Hollywood has the Boulevard, but the Jews have 2nd Avenue. Up and down 2nd Avenue between Houston and 14th Street were scores of Yiddish theaters. The first one started by Abraham Goldfaden in 1876.
And who are all these people monumented here?
These are the stars. Most of them have been forgotten, but these are the stars of the Yiddish stage. Probably the most famous, I think, would be Maui Picon over here, Jacob Adwer. These people that made the theater accessible to immigrants. You could see Macbeth in Yiddish.
While 2nd Avenue pays homage to the stars of yesterday, let's go to Alicia Quarles of the Associated Press for the entertainment news of today.
Well, Toni, New Yorkers better get ready because on April 22nd, the Tribeca Film Festival kicks off. Now, the star power is going to be deep on these red carpets. And the man of the hour, Mr. Robert De Niro himself, will be everywhere. Exciting!
8 years old and the Tribeca Film Festival is still going strong.
We had no idea how it would do or where it would go, and it's becoming more and more solid, and we're finding our way more and more each year, so I'm very, very proud of it.
But organizers want it to be realistic too. They've scaled things back to reflect the economy.
Well, everything's a bit leaner this year, so certainly it was based on some economic decisions, but that said, I think it's also a stronger festival.
There will be more than 80 films, down from 120 last year. Still, that's a lot of movies. De Niro has a list of the ones he wants to see.
Woody Allen's movie, I'm curious to see. Soderbergh's film. That idiot's your son?
That's right, he said Woody Allen. The legendary filmmaker opens the festival with his new comedy, Whatever Works, starring Larry David. Others include Serious Moonlight, written by the late Adrian Shelley.
Wow, very pretty.
And a documentary about John Bon Jovi. So grab your Metro card. Tickets for the general public go on sale on Monday at 11 a.m. Alicia Quarles, The Associated Press, New York.
Thanks, Alicia. Now, if any of you out there are feeling particularly adventurous and you want to visit a neighborhood in New York's backyard, then get your passports ready, people, because I have an idea for you, and it might not even cost you a dime. It's only an hour away, but it feels like a trip back in time. Quebec has what it takes if you take having fun seriously. If you want intense sports, want to push yourself to the limits, or if relaxation is more your thing, Quebec can't be beat. Especially when you can go for free. They pay for it all, and you get to build your own itinerary. And don't forget, Quebecers love a party, as the hundreds of festivals that take place each year can attest to. So, how does it work? Well, it's easy. Just write up why you should be selected, upload a couple of pictures, and if you win, you get round-trip airfare for 2, 3 nights accommodations, a free rental car, $650 to blow on food, plus all the cool stuff you want to do. They'll even wire you up with a laptop for your stay so you can blog away, and you'll be the star of your own online reality show. Well, what are you waiting for? Just log on to WPIX.com and enter to win. They're giving away 3 totally free trips to Quebec, and people, I've been there. It's fabulous. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed exploring the East Village as much as we did, but you know what? We need to know where to go next. So come find us on Facebook at Toni On New York. Until then, toodles.